California is taking bold action on the issue of renewable energy. This is from The Verge. California is requiring solar panels on all new houses. Here's what that means. More expensive houses for now, but maybe cheaper in the long run. So they say California has become the first state to require that new homes be built with solar panels. The rules go into place in 2020 and are part of the state's ambitious efforts to cut greenhouse gas emissions. But these requirements also make it more expensive to build in a state where housing is already extremely expensive. The new building rules approved by the California Energy Commission apply to all residential buildings up to 3 stories high, including both single-family buildings and condos. They'll no doubt help California reach its goal of having at least half of electricity come from renewable energy by 2030. Solar is already responsible for about 16% of California electricity, but the new regulations mean that houses will be $8,000 to $12,000 more expensive, according to the New York Times. That's especially fraught in a state where the median price of a single-family home is nearly $565,000, according to the California Association of Realtors. Habitat for Humanity Development Director Lane Himmelman told CNN affiliate KRCA that the regulations would require the nonprofit to raise $80,000 to $100,000 more a year in donations. And 2 years ago, Vox's Brad Plumer argued that boosting housing density would be even more green than requiring solar panels. For residents, at least, the raise could even out in the long run. Energy Commission spokeswoman Amber Beck told the Los Angeles Times, though buyers could see their monthly mortgage go up by $40, their utility bills would fall by $80. Over time, a family would save $19,000 of today's dollars, adjusted for inflation over 30 years, according to Beck. So this is interesting, man. And the question is, hey, is this a good idea? Is this a good policy? I say both yes and no, because it depends how you do it. So it looks to me like they're just mandating it, and then that's it. And that, I'm not a big fan of that. And in fact, this was one of my prime objections to Obamacare. Now, I favor Medicare for all, of course, and I always did. But Obamacare, it was like, they're going to mandate by law that you go buy some shit. And it's like, no, if you're going to mandate that I have something, well then, provide it, bitch. I pay you enough in taxes where you can say, okay, if I want you to have X, here's X. And I'm going to take a certain percentage, a certain chunk of the money you gave me, and I will give you X because I'm mandating you need to have X. To pass a rule or pass a law that says, okay, we totally need you to have this thing. And then everybody's like, okay, I guess I got to follow the law. And the government says, right, now you go buy it. What? You can't mandate I'm supposed to have some shit and then force me to buy it. If you mandate I'm supposed to have something, provide it. I pay you money already. So I think there's something fucked up about them mandating you do something on the private marketplace, which is what this is. So my idea would be, if you want to mandate solar panels, okay, we'll make that part of infrastructure. So, when you drive on public roads, that was paid for with tax money. The public roads are paved with tax money, and the upkeep is done with tax money, and that's part of public infrastructure. If you want everybody to have solar panels, even though the solar panels are technically on private property because it's on the roof of the person's house or whatever they're living in, well, still, you can, at the very least, subsidize it and take off 50% of the cost. But really, probably, ideally, you should just have it funded with tax money. And the government steps in and pays for these solar panels and gets them put on. Because again, people, especially in California, they pay a decent amount of state taxes. So if they're going to pay that state money, okay, well, guess what? I guess you're going to have to take away some of the tax breaks that are given to corporations to set up shop in your fucking state. And instead of giving them tax breaks, you take some of that money and put it towards solar panels. Listen, point is, you have to at least subsidize 50% of it for people. Because I don't know if it's already super expensive there, and to just add an $8,000 to $12,000 cost on top of it. But overall, I have to say, the idea is correct. And the idea is, hey, there are some issues that the government needs to get involved in. And when it comes to issues of pollution, when it comes to issues of climate change, when it comes to issues of renewable energy, yes, the government has to get involved in that because the market has shown itself to be totally ineffectual on its own. Pollution and climate change, these are externalities to a free marketplace. In other words, it's something that there's no profit in protecting everybody from pollution. There's no profit in trying to avert climate change. So the marketplace, by its very nature, is not going to foster good outcomes for pollution and climate change. So you need the government to regulate and to tweak and to make changes so that we protect the environment and we protect against climate change. So I like this idea. I think you could do it slightly differently, though, instead of totally putting the burden on the individual property owners. So I like the idea of it. I would just do it slightly differently. But I think that they are leading the way in many respects on something that's necessary. So I hope other states try to follow suit in one way or another.